What's up, everybody? Rob here. So, in case you didn't know, I am Russian Orthodox. I think I brought it up sometime on videos, but generally I don't because it's not really relevant. I'm talking about Spanish pike and shot formation, stuff like that. Doesn't really come up. But in any case, it is Holy Week, and for the first time ever, I'm actually going to be trying to make my grandmother's Pascha bread recipe. Our family members have all tried it before, but we have all failed utterly because, well, you can never be as good as Baba. You can't do it. But we're going to give the attempt anyway. I'm going to give the attempt anyway. I'm going to try it. We have a recipe. And by recipe, it's a list of ingredients that has been passed down for I don't even know how long. I mean, you can see the quality here. And it's just kind of a list of ingredients on account of she was from Russia. And because, well, they didn't really write things down. When it came to making bread, you just sort of did it. So, like, how do you make this? Like, what are the steps? Well, you just kind of do it, and you figure it out along the way. So I'm going to be trying to figure it out along the way. My mom is here, and she refused to be on camera. Mom, you want to be on camera? You don't have to. Just wave to the people. Okay.
Hi.
That's my mom. She's going to be helping me out here. We're going to give an attempt at this. I guarantee you won't be as good as my grandmother's, but you know, got to give the attempt anyway. So in any case, without any further ado, here we go. Alright, so the ingredients are lined up all over here. Now, keep in mind that the ingredients that were listed on the very worn recipe here, these are, let's just say, kind of like the Pirate's Code. They're kind of just guidelines. And, yeah, I mean, how much, yeast do you need or how much flour do you need? Well, you'll know when it happens. So, in any case, we have here our main ingredients. We have 1 cup of water. Again, any amounts here are strictly, suggestions more than anything else. 1 cup of water. Thank you for including that. Yes, 1 cup of water here. You have a whole packet. Yes, we're making a very large loaf here. So 1 whole packet of fresh yeast here. Salt, you need 1 teaspoon of salt later on when you get to it. Sour cream here. Now, you don't need the sour cream, but it was added in anyway. But if you don't want it, you can leave it out. That is 2 tablespoons here. You have 1 cup of milk, 1 teaspoon of sugar, 6 cups of flour. Now, this is 5 cups of flour. We're going to be needing another cup later on, but for right now, we have 5 here. You're going to need 6 altogether, approximately. And raisins, how many raisins? I don't know, how many raisins do you want? I'm probably going to add more than this. This is just for demonstrative purposes. So, really simple and easy. Those are the ingredients. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Get water, milk, yeast, sour cream, salt, sugar, flour, and raisins. And also, there is a variant that involves chicken fat. You can add chicken fat. How much chicken fat do we put in? I'm getting motions of just like shrugging, like meh, like just like you take like a handful and throw it in there. We've never done it. I think that's probably why it doesn't come out well. But I don't have any chicken fat laying around here. It's been Lent, so no, we don't have chicken fat laying around. But if you do and you want to add it in, go right ahead, be my guest. So there you are. Those are the ingredients. Okay, so the first step is you take the packet of yeast and you dissolve it into the water and then you stir. Now, make sure the water is lukewarm. I've never used fresh yeast like this. I've always used the dry packet stuff whenever I make bread. Yeah, maybe the fresh yeast has something to do with it. I don't know. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But yes, use the entire brick and then stir it and make sure it's completely dissolved. See if it's like chunky like this and there's chunks like that. Keep stirring. And yeah, just gonna do that. Okay, so you got the yeast here. It is stirred. There's no chunks or anything left. It's fully incorporated into the water. You can use the dry packet yeast. I don't think that really makes much of a difference there, but just make sure it's all integrated together here. And you now mix it into 5 cups of flour. You're going to need another cup for reasons you'll see shortly, but right now you just mix it in slowly. You just add it in and stir it together slowly. Just mix it in. And okay, there we go.
Add the milk.
Okay, now that this is mixed, once the yeast and the water's mixed together, mostly, you're not going to get it all together. It's not going to be fully incorporated yet. You then add in the milk, again, slowly integrating it as you go along. And yeah, you just stir, mix it together. And yeah, that's it for the time being until it's as integrated as can be. Okay, so the next ingredient, which was not on the list because because Baba just didn't put it on there, but apparently you have one egg yolk and the whites of 2 eggs. There's the extra yolk. It's right here. We're gonna be using that later, but yeah, right now you 2 eggs, 2 of the egg whites, and 1 of the yolks. You mix it up. Just use a fork here. You can use a whisker. Do whatever you want. I don't really care how you mix it up, but mix it all very well together. And then you just dump it into the flour with the milk and the yeast and the water and all that stuff. Mix it in there, and then once again you mix it thoroughly. So just again,
All the other good stuff.
just put it all in. Okay, and then at this point you also then add in the rest of your ingredients minus the 1 egg yolk you're holding on to. So we got the sour cream. Just pour that in here as best you can. Again, the amounts here are not exact, so you just kind of, figure it out as you go along. So we got the sour cream right there. There, got the sugar. And got the salt. Now it's supposed to be 1 teaspoon of salt, not teaspoon of salt, but just kind of like seems like a decent amount. More. Okay, apparently more salt. Okay, that's enough. More salt and raisins too. Yeah, just throw in some raisins, and you mix it all together. So again, just stir. Just use a spoon. And stir it till it all gets incorporated well together. Again, mixing from the bottom. Make sure you get all the stuff, like there's no nothing like on the sides here. You mix that all in, and so it's all incorporated into a single solid mass. I'm sure there's a technical term for that. A loaf. It's not really a loaf yet, but whatever. You know what I'm trying to do here. So anyway, that's it for now. Okay, so now I've been mixing it for a while, and it's still very, very I don't know, liquidy. Doughy. Again, I'm not a chef, so whatever the technical term is here. So at this point, this is where that extra cup of or thereabouts of flour comes in. Just start adding it in and keep mixing. So just now this is where the approximations come in. We would try to ask Baba, like how when we tried to make it ourselves, like how do you know like what the consistency looks like? She'll just say something like, I don't know, you'll just kind of know. Like, look, she was from Russia. They didn't write this stuff down. They just sort of did it. They just did it by feel, by look. They just sort of knew. The world back then was really different than it is now culturally. Obviously, culturally, very different. This was, let's put it this way, Soviet Union before Stalin took over. So we're talking like as close to like a medieval type existence as you can expect. And they just sort of did things by experience. And it was just like, yeah, you just sort of did it. It's not like everything things didn't have to be written down in like our cookbooks today where it's like super precise, super, like commodified and very rigid. It's just like, figure it out. You should already know how to do this. It's very much, if you're familiar with Townsend's, I'm sure you've all seen that Townsend's channel. There's
has to be elastic.
There you go. Yes, my mom's saying it has to be elastic. This is elastic. It's not more flour then. Okay, so
That's where the 6th cup is.
okay. So apparently it's got to be more elastic than it is now. So add a little bit more flour.
Not too much.
But anyway, what I was trying to say, just a little bit here right now, just a little bit right there. I'm sure you're familiar with Townsend's, and you'll see like on recipes that are there on that channel, and the recipes they go over with these historic recipes. The ingredients list are just sort of like about that much. How much flour? It's like. Yeah, figure it out. The idea of cookbooks, actually, as we know today, is really not a new invention, but the way they are presented today with a very specific ingredient list like that, and very specific amounts, and very specific times and measurements and temperatures, that's a very, very new phenomenon. Older, we're good?
Now you have to start kneading it.
Okay, I'm going to have to start kneading it, but let me just finish this one point. Basically, the idea of cookbooks previously was you should have already known how to cook, and this is just a guideline along the way. So, yeah, this is very much in that spirit. So, okay, next step, we're going to actually having to start knead the dough. This is approximately the consistency you want. Elastically, it's a little tacky, you know, it sticks a bit, but it's not too bad. So, once it gets to like in roughly this type of consistency, you're probably good to go. All right, moving on to the next step. Okay, so now you take the next step is, first off, you have to take on a clean surface that you're going to be kneading on. Using a counter here, but it could be a board, it could be a table, whatever you feel like. Look, I'm not your boss, you can do whatever you want. But it should come out of the bowl that you're putting it in a solid mass like this. Again, very tacky. Wash your hands because it will stick to you. And you put some flour down. Again, you need extra flour, like we've gone over. And you put it down on there, and then you just start kneading it, and then you add in extra flour as needed. There's no... On your hand, yes, put it on your hands. On your hands? On your hands. Because this will stick to you, so you put some... Put flour on your hands, and then you start kneading, and you are good to go. And then you, you start kneading. Now, as you're kneading it, make sure you push down, and make sure you're not just like doing like little surface level stuff here. You gotta, put your back into it, put a little bit of effort into there. If you do this repeatedly, it's fairly good lat exercise, but any case, add flour to your hands and to the board or the surface as needed. And this is something for a religious observance. It's for Pascha, it's for Easter. So I really should be, praying right now or hearing hymns, but I figured I'd play some religious music because, I figure it'd be appropriate. So, yeah, some religious music for upcoming Pascha. Okay, now, as you knead it, you have to knead this for about 20 minutes to half an hour. How is it supposed to feel? Well, you'll just figure it out as you go along. You'll know, whatever that means. And as you're doing it, it's going to feel like right now it's starting to feel more sticky than it was previously. So at that point, you would add a little more flour to your hands, a little bit more onto the surface, and you keep going. That's where the extra cup comes in. You're going to need about a cup or thereabouts. So, yeah, just, So yeah, just have extra on standby. Just buy a whole bag of flour. Seriously, do it. Oh, and by the way, this is all-purpose flour that I'm using here because that's what my grandmother used. I'm sure you could do it with bread flour, or can you do it with whole wheat? I mean, I don't see why not, but maybe that has a difference. I don't know. I've never tried it, and I'm not going to because, well, I'm just not. So there you are. So I'll see you again in about 20 minutes thereabouts. Again, making sure you knead it. Make sure you really press it in down there. I'd be doing it more, but the camera's in the way. So, yeah. Okay, moving on. Okay, so now I'm done kneading it. Here's the dough right here. It's elasticy. It's not sticking. We're good to go. I've been doing it for about 20 minutes thereabouts. You might have to do a little bit more, but it's in good condition. You put it in a bowl or a pot like this, something big enough to accommodate it, and you just leave it there. And Okay, so now once it's in the container, you take a cloth, just a dish towel, just drape it over the top.
No, drape it.
Oh yeah, drape it. Yeah, so that's what I was doing. Just drape it, just cover it like this, and then put it somewhere that is reasonably warm. You're gonna leave it there for about how long? How long about?
Till it doubles in size.
Until it roughly doubles in size thereabouts. So I'm just gonna leave this out of the way, putting it right over here. I'm not going to be using the stove at all. Don't operate a stove while you have something resting near it, because somebody will do something that's stupid, and honestly, I don't want to hear it. So yeah, just leave it there till it doubles in size, reasonably warm place, and yeah, should take about an hour thereabouts, but yeah, doubles in size. Okay, moving on. Next. Okay, so with the main dough is here. It's in this bowl, ready to go. Again, ceramic or something not porous like plastic or anything like that. This is ceramic, should do fine. You have this little bit here that you took off, roughly, baseball size ish, roughly. You cut it in half. Just use a knife, anything you want cut it in half. You can divide it with your hands, but I like to, if I have an opportunity to use a knife, I'm going to use a knife. So now, what you do is you want to roll this out. You can do this method here where you let gravity, help you out along the way. I like to use the counter. It's much more stable and, just better that way. You want to make it as even as possible all the way around. So there you are. It's roughly even in half, and you're going to be making a braid with this. So what you do, you do need a knife for this one. You take it about an inch or two down, and you cut it in half all the way down, and you create a wishbone looking type thing here. Break it apart a little bit here. There it goes. Okay, so now it's in half. Looks relatively like a wishbone. And then while it is in this wishbone form, you spin it around itself, and this looks pretty ghetto, so I'm going to give it another attempt at it. You do the same thing, of course, with this one here, and basically you should have 2 braids. So I'm going to give this a couple attempts. Don't take too long. It's not going to be perfect, but I'm going to try to make it a little better. So I'll be back. Okay, so we have our 2 braids here. You have one here and the other one over here. And what you do is you don't lay it on top, but you actually tuck it under. So you put it up on top, one braid, and then you fold it under and tuck it under, like you're tucking in sheets. Because you guys obviously change your sheets more than once every 6 years, I'm sure. You should be used to this. Anyway, so halfway down so that it's right in the middle with a braid. It's not the best braid, but first time doing this. You tuck it under, and then you take the other one and then across so it forms a cross. Because remember, this is for Easter. That's kind of like the point. And then you tuck it underneath. So you should have a cross. See, it forms a cross. You want to do like multiple braids, so if you want to have like, the 3-bar Orthodox cross, if you want to do that, go right ahead. I'm not doing that though, because I'm not doing that. Now, what you want to do is take, you have the egg yolk that you had before. Remember, we used for the actual recipe two eggs, 1 yolk, but plus the whites of 2 eggs. You have the other yolk here, and then you spread it on top. You can use, I have a silicone brush here. My grandmother used a feather. I am not using a feather because I don't have feathers just laying around, and, well, I do, but they're outside, and I don't know where that bird's been. You don't know how these things are. So you want to just, brush the entire thing as evenly as possible, just as a glaze, which will become, well, it's a glaze. You guys should know how glazes work. If you don't know how glazes work, well, this is not a cooking channel. It's a history channel. Yeah, pike and shot formations. I'm better at that sort of thing. So, any case, I will return to you once this is said and done. Okay, so I just glazed the thing. I very specifically just was instructed not to touch it. You have to just let it rest now for the next
half an hour.
About half hour thereabouts. And let it rest for half an hour and just leave it as is. So until then, I'm just gonna do other stuff. So I'll be back. Okay, it's been about a half an hour, and as you can see, the bread has risen quite significantly. It's actually very poofy right now. It has expanded in size, everything here. And this goes directly into the oven. I should have mentioned this earlier, but yeah, make sure this piece right here is oven resistant. Definitely you don't want a piece of plastic because that'll melt, but something that can withstand the heat of an oven. So I'm going to transfer that right over. Okay, so you want to put it in the oven at 375. 375 is just kind of like a generically good temperature for everything. If you're not sure what to do, 375. And right now we'll keep it in for about 25 minutes or so, and then there's something that's got to be done at that point. So set it for 25 minutes at 375. About 20 to 25 minutes. We'll go with 20. I have a very robust oven. So 20 minutes at 375, and we'll see you a little bit. Okay, so the oven just went off, and here it is. We have to test it. Here it is. Looks pretty good. I'm assuming this looks pretty good. So now what you need to do is to make sure it's actually, actually done. Get a towel. You can use the same one you used before. Just a nice clean towel here. Oven mitt, of course, because you don't want to burn yourself. If you do want to burn yourself, then go ahead and do it. I'm not your boss. Anyway, you cover it and then flip it over if you greased it properly. You can do this on a counter. I'm just doing this right here because it's convenient. Just get this right here. Should pop off pretty easily. Boom, there you go. And it should sound hollow. This, I kept it in 20 minutes, half hour. It should take about that long. And yay, it's hollow. So congratulations, it worked. Hallelujah. So because it's hollow here, it has a hollow sound to it. That means it is finished. So I'm just gonna pop this right back to where it was. And of course I tore it here, but you know, yeah. Appearances don't matter. It's the taste that does. So moving on to the next and final step. Okay, and for the final step, you just take a little bit of water, just like a small handful right here. Just a handful, and then you just rub it on the top. Just to, I don't even know why we're doing this. It softens it. Okay, apparently it softens it just a little bit. You don't need that much. Just a little bit right there. And then you cover it. And of course, while I was taking it out, it broke because of course it does. And last step, of course, you then cover this with the towel just until it cools off a little bit. And that is it. Final step, Pascha bread. There you go. Okay, so it has been sitting here for about a half an hour, and then the last step, all you have to do is take it out of the bowl it's been cooked in, and you place it on a wire rack, and you leave it there for about a half an hour. Okay, for the last and final step, you take it out of the bowl that it was cooked in, and you leave it on a wire rack for about a half an hour till it's completely cool. At that point, you can either serve it immediately, or you can wrap it up in plastic wrap or just a plastic bag of some kind, and leave it in your fridge or your freezer for preservation. I'm going to be having to do that because, well, Easter is not for another couple of days. So, yeah, there you go. So that is it for this video. I hope you found this interesting and entertaining. In any case, please hit the like and subscribe button. More videos coming out whenever I get around to it. And have a good day. Or don't have a good day. Your adults have any kind of day you want. See you later.